Hey, my Pilates people, welcome to my channel, Connect and Move. My name is Jessica. Today I have for you just a hip opening, stretchy mobility type flow, right? So it's hip focused, maybe some low back, some back stretching in there. So a little bit of twisting, a little bit of side bend, but again, mainly focused on the lower half of the body today. We are gonna start off with a little bit of footwork, a little bit of bridging, mainly just to warm ourselves up before we get into some deep stretching. All right, so box, you'll need your box, your reformer, of course, your beautiful self. And then to start with the springs, I have 2 mediums and 2 lights. I have a heavier spring setting on because we are gonna do some bridging, right? And I don't want things to cramp up. I wanna be supportive. So pick your options, adjust accordingly, adjust as you need. And yeah, that's it. Nice, easy, good stuff today. So once you've got your box, your spring setting set up, let's go ahead and lie down. I've got my headrest in my favorite position here. Make sure that you are centered on your carriage, and I'm gonna place all 10 toes on, hip socket distance apart. So I'm in parallel right now, and I'm gonna take a moment here to just find my head to tail length, right? I'm gonna let my body kind of relax into the mat where it feels natural, I guess. I'm not forcing it into a position here. And I'm gonna stretch my arms down and into the mat, just so I'm not in my neck, my chest is open. Start to feel equal weight between your right and your left foot and also across your toe pads. Now, without shifting in your spine and pelvis, I want you to press the carriage out. Hold it out there for a moment and just let the shoulders and neck relax a little bit more, and then bend your knees, come all the way home. It's amazing how just that first press out, I immediately want to shrug my shoulders into the blocks. So inhale takes you out. Exhale pulls you home. There's a little bit of a nod to your chin, and that should open up the back of your neck a little bit more. And here's your time, right? Footwork is great to set you up for the rest of class, even if it's a stretchy one. So here's your time to find equal work, right? So if you know you have a dominant side or just a funky thing going on, here's your time to try and iron it out as best you can. And also, right, find and keep that length. Now go ahead and press the carriage all the way out. I want you to drive your heels under the foot bar. So hold here, actively flex your feet. So my toes are still wrapping up and over, but my heels are reaching down and under. And now lift the heels up, bend the knees, come all the way home. A couple more times here. Press it out. Keep the length in your spine, lower the heels. Pause here. I want you to imagine your thigh bones are just like stretching away from your ribs here. So the top of your thighs lengthen. And now lift your heels and bend the knees, come all the way home. Again, press it out. You lower the heels. Feel the tops of your thighs and hips kind of open and lengthen. In fact, my thighs just became a little bit more relaxed here. And then go ahead and lift the heels up and then drive the heels back under. So we're gonna stay out here. Think of that pubic bone pointing to your toes, and then lift the heels back up. So as we're lowering and lifting, we're still trying to hold the shape of our spine, the position of our pelvis. For 2. And last one. Now lift your heels up, bend your left knee, drive your right heel under. Hold here for a moment, just really like push through that right heel to stretch it out a little bit more. And then lift back up into high heels, drive your left heel under. And just breathe down and into that stretch. And now come back up into high heels. We're gonna move a little bit faster here, but I want you to try to go full range. So in order to go full range, we've got to work the front of the shin bone to flex the foot to get a deeper stretch. And each time that heel goes under, remember, think of the top of the thigh lengthening. And if that cue doesn't make sense, think of the back of the thigh drawing down to the floor. Arms are still reaching long and into the mat. We have 3 and 2. And last one, lift the heels, bend the knees, come all the way home. All right, I'm gonna come wide on the foot bar now. Kind of like on my heel pockets-ish. So I feel like I'm halfway on my heels right now. I've got to turn out because I'm in this wide position. Once again, find your head to tail length, find equal weight between both feet. And then on your inhale, go ahead and press the carriage out. And then exhale, pull the carriage home. Inhale takes you out. Exhale pulls you home. So this position, I personally find that it's harder for me to keep my pelvis level, because as I go out, I really want to like squeeze my butt cheeks, which like, I guess kind of pushes my pelvis back, right? So just find a happy balance, right? Remember, you still have that nod to your chin. Last one here. Go ahead and pull the carriage all the way in. Keep your feet where you're at. Just keep in mind if you have your head rest up, right? We're not going into a high bridge here. So you can keep your head rest up, but just remember that it's up, all right? So take a big breath in, and then on your exhale, I want you to tilt your pelvis back. Really drive your low ribs into the mat and find a tiny tailbone hover and hold here. So I'm really thinking of my pubic bone going back to my navel. My upper arm bones are trying to stay into the mat and then lengthen back down. Again, tilt your pelvis back. Hold here. Think both hip points are trying to pull back to your ribs and then melt back down. Good. Again, tilt your pelvis back, tiny tailbone hover. Now keep the tailbone hover, even if your cheeks are still touching the mat. Go ahead and press the carriage out and then pull it back in. It doesn't have to go all the way out. The second you feel like your pubic bone is going away from your navel, that's where either you work harder or that's just where you stop today. So here we are engaging a little bit more through the back body to open up the front of the hips. Remember, the sides of the neck stay long. This is your pelvic lift, right? So a little bit of work here. Remember, I want to warm up the muscles before we get to stretching them. So let's do 2. Last one. Pull the carriage all the way into the stopper and then melt all the way down. Keep your feet wide. Take your right ankle over your left knee. So I guess keep your left foot where it's at. And then you can hold on to the pegs if you like, and then just gently drop the legs over to the right. And when you're there, I want you to think of breathing down your left side. So I'm sending my breath to my left side of my rib cage, my left hip, my left thigh, all the way to my left knee. Big breath in here. And then exhale, carefully lift the legs back up, and let's go over to the other side. So same right ankle over your left knee. Ooh, definitely not going as far on this side. And then kind of the same thing here. I'm thinking of kind of breathing down my right side, down into my right hip. And then on the next exhale, carefully bring the legs back to center. So my right foot is going to come down, my left ankle over the right knee. And then I'm going to carefully shift the legs over to the left. Oh my goodness, that feels so good on my low back. And again, on this side, right, it's breathing down your right ribs, right hip, right thigh, right knee. Next exhale, carefully lift the legs back up to center. Careful there. And then shift the legs over to the right. And on this shift over, I'm thinking of my left hip reaching to the foot bar as opposed to caving into me, because that's where it really wants to go because it's so tight. And then next exhale, carefully bring the legs back to center. Awesome. So let's go ahead and roll you up now. I like a little bit of a heavier spring for my feet and straps, so I like 2 mediums. If you know that you prefer a lighter spring, right, pick your spring. Medium and a light, 2 lights. For balanced body, for me, I have 2 red springs. So let's go ahead and lie back. Once again, make sure that you are centered here. I want you to place your feet into, I like to go the short loops because we are going to do a little short spine here. All right, so I want you to find the bottom of your frog. So my arms are long, my tailbone is heavy, all right? I'm thinking of making or creating more space between my head and my tailbone. My heels are together, my knees are apart, but they're only the width of my shoulders. Now go ahead and exhale out all of your breath here. Think of those ribs settling into the mat. And then on your inhale, I want you to press the legs out to that working angle. And then exhale, pull the knees back in. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Inhale, send the legs out. Exhale, pull them back in. Inhale out, right? It's just more footwork. It's a deep squat. Knees come back in. So obviously if you can't bring your knees past your hips, then right, you stop there. Otherwise, I want to challenge you, how far past or how close can you bring your knees to your shoulders without your tailbone rolling off the mat? So it does take a little bit of postural work, but it's such a good stretch for your hips. Last one here. Exhale, 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 exhale. Send the legs back out. I want you to now find parallel. Float the legs up to your 90. Your 90 is where your tailbone can stay heavy and the pelvis hasn't shifted, and then lower the legs right back down. I like an inhale as I go up on this one, and then exhale as I come down. I just find the inhale deepens the stretch. And if you're somebody like me that tends to go into the back of your knees, I want you to find a little turnout and also shift your focus to your booty. Good. Now the next time your legs lower down to that working angle, I want you to open the legs out wide. Take it slow, take it small if you need to at first. Bring the legs up to your 90. Lower the legs down through center. Open the legs wide again. Maybe they go wider. Legs zipper up at the top. They lower down through center. Open wide. Again, maybe you start to make your circles bigger now that hopefully we're a little bit more warm. So we're working the back of the legs as we go down. We're working the side of the hips as we go wide, and then the inner thighs as they come in. Now, once your legs are at the top, we're gonna reverse. Open the legs out wide. Sometimes when I go wide, I like to flex my feet. I find that that just deepens the inner thigh stretch. And then as my legs come together, I point my toes. They come up, they go wide, I flex my feet. I find just a little bit extra external rotation. Legs come back to center, they find parallel. Honestly, as long as you're getting just a good stretch here, that's all I care about. All right, once your legs are up to 90, I want you to fold your knees in towards your shoulders again. The tailbone is heavy. We're gonna add a little bit of a pelvic curl to this, to our frog, and then we'll eventually go into short spine. So make sure your headrest is all the way down, pretty please. I want you to send the legs out to that working angle. All right, as your knees come in, find an exhale, and then maybe your hips roll off the mat a little bit, and then melt back down. Send the legs back out. You've got to use your stomach here, and also use your arms. Pull the knees in, allow that tailbone to roll up, and then melt back down. Maybe it's small, maybe it's bigger. And melt back down. Now, if you're good with this, you stay with this. Otherwise, we're gonna do our short spine. So my legs are gonna come up to 90. They're gonna lift up and over. I'm gonna try to close the springs or close the carriage. I'm gonna soften my chest away from my chin. Bends the knees into the blocks. Think of lifting the hips up to the ceiling. And now pull your heels to your seat as you melt all the way down, down, down. Tailbone hits the mat. Press the legs back out. Legs come up and over. Push into the arms. They get longer and also heavier. Exhale if you're feeling any tension. Bend your knees into the blocks. Hips lift up higher. Pull your heels to your seat and then melt all the way down. One more here. Legs go out. Up and over. Take your time. Maybe give your bottom a little squeeze as you go up. Knees down. Different option here. Keep your feet over your face as you roll your hips away. Go down as far as you possibly can. And then just let yourself relax. Maybe exhale. And then pin those heels together. Pull your heels to your seat and let your tailbone settle into the mat. Awesome. Let's go ahead and take the straps off. Hang up your straps. And then now we're going to come up. We're going to change our spring to a light spring. So for me, that's a blue spring. And I'm going to place the box on short ways. All right, so I want you to come kneeling on your carriage, facing your box here. Let's start. I'm gonna place my right foot up onto the box here. My left foot is just kind of pushing the carriage out a little bit because I just don't want to hit my toes. So my left foot's gonna come up here. All right. So this is kind of a variation on front splits where we put our foot on the foot bar. We're just flipping around here, okay? So my foot's a little forward. All right, if I need to adjust, I'll adjust, right? So I'm gonna think of pushing down through this right foot and also kind of pulling back. So that right there deepens the stretch in my left thigh, okay? If it doesn't, I want you to think of dropping your tailbone down and driving your pubic bone forward here. All right, so I'm just gonna sit up tall to start. My right hip is drawing down to my left inner thigh. Lots of things happening here, right? But I'm hoping that you're feeling a stretch somewhere. If not, we'll get to moving here. So all I want you to do is just kind of shift your weight forward and back a little bit. All right, little forward, little back. And whatever shin you have connected to the carriage, I want you to keep it, right? So just keep like pushing down. Yep. All right, now I want you to just shift the weight forward a little bit. All right, I'm gonna take my right elbow down to the box here. I'm gonna try to touch the box. And then reach my right arm up to the ceiling. Again, take it easy. Right elbow, I'm gonna try to get it down to the inside of my right foot. And then I'm gonna reach my right arm up. Right elbow down. And up, and I can already feel like it's loosening up a little bit. Keep that pull back with your right leg and kind of a pull in with your left leg. Last one here. There we go, it just loosened up. All right, so now I'm gonna take my right hand. I'm gonna reach down for the tape, or sorry, the rope right above my strap here, right? So I'm gonna reach forward, the carriage might come in here. And then as I stack my spine up tall, I'm gonna take that arm around my right thigh. I'm gonna sit up tall. Can you take your left arm and then reach it up to the sky? Here's where we really want you to drive the left hip forward to get a nice thigh stretch. And then hand comes down. Just watch your back foot. I'm gonna reach forward, and then stack the spine up, hook my right arm around my right thigh, lift up, little baby back bend, be careful. Hand comes down. I'm gonna reach forward, so my chest is going through my legs here. I'm reaching forward, and then come back up. Such a nice stretch. Lift up. Last one here. Chest, hips go forward. Push down into that right big toe, and then wrap the arm around. Left arm comes up and down. Awesome. All right, so before we go over to the other side, I'm now gonna pivot and face you. Once I unstuck my pants here. All right, so I'm gonna scoot back on my box a little bit. Just make sure the box isn't gonna topple over. My left shin is down into the mat here, okay? Depending on leg length, height of your box, all your things, you might be able to get it in line with your hip. You know, we'll see, right? So my foot is definitely hanging off the back edge here, okay? So I'm gonna sit up tall. I'm gonna think of rooting down equally through my hips, all right? I'm gonna reach my right arm up to the ceiling. I'm gonna side bend towards my foot bar. I'm gonna find the foot bar. And I'm just gonna press the carriage out a little bit. It's only like just to deepen the stretch. The goal isn't to go all the way out. And then carriage comes in. My right hand is now gonna come down. Left arm is gonna kind of reach around, like there's a little bit of a twist here. And then carefully kind of windmill the arms back up. Left hand down, right arm up and over. So I'm pushing down through my right thigh, my left shin, everything's grounding down right now. And then up, hand comes down. Left arm kind of spirals around, like I'm gonna reach for that side or bottom part of my carriage. Last one here. Windmill the arms, left hand comes up and over. Square off in the chest, sides of the neck are long. Oh my goodness, that feels so good. Okay, last one here. Right hand down. Think of pulling those ribs or lifting the ribs off of that right thigh if you can, just to deepen that back stretch. Awesome. And then stack all the way up. So, all right, so let's go ahead. Square you now to the box to do the other side. All right, so my left foot is gonna come on. Whew. All righty. So again, I'm thinking of my legs as like a pair of scissors. So my front leg is pulling back. My right thigh, right hip is kind of pulling forward. So again, it's almost like that left hip spiraling back, right hip spiraling forward sensation. All right, so from here, right, get stable in your legs and in your hips. My left arm is gonna go up to the ceiling. My right hand is on the box. I'm gonna take my left elbow down to the box and then reach it back up. But you know what? I forgot our little shift forward and back, forgive me. All right, so little forward, little back, right? Just stacking up tall here. Little forward, little back. And as I go back, again, that tailbone is dropping. That front hip is lifting up to that bottom rib cage. And something I didn't mention on the other side is make sure that your legs are hip socket distance apart. Like my left foot is not all the way over, like to the side of the box. Good, one more here. All right, find where you feel kind of centered. And now let's do that stretch, sorry y'all. Left arm reaches up to the ceiling. And then the left elbow comes down. Take your time here. It will start to loosen up. And still keep that left foot firmly planted into the box. Because I find that when I take my elbow down to the box, my knee wants to wing out to the side to give myself more space, but I'm gonna try to fight it. As I said that, I just felt it doing it. Last one here. And then all the way up. Oh, that feels so good. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my left hand, I'm gonna reach for that right strap. I'm gonna carefully choke up, all right, onto the rope, right? You know, you can always, right, change that. So I'm gonna let that rope pull me forward, pull me forward, pull me forward. And then as I stack up, I'm gonna hook that arm around my thigh. So again, inner thighs are drawing in, right arm reaches up to the ceiling, push down through the right shin, little baby back dive, and then hand comes down. Right arm reaches forward. Keep pushing down through that left foot. Take it slow. Definitely feel wobblier on this side. And down. It's hips and chest goes forward. Reach it forward, reach it forward. Hug that left inner thigh in. Holy cannoli, that is tight. Right arm goes up and back. Lift the chest up. Hand comes down. Reach forward, reach forward. Let's do one more here. Up and back. Maybe your right butt cheek just engages a little bit more. Now, as you come forward, let's just stay here and breathe for a second and really work that left hip going back, right hip going forward. It may feel like you're twisting. All right, last hook of that arm around. Right arm reaches up. That might have been a half, that may have been an extra rep. I'm not really sure. All right, hand comes down, go ahead and hang up that strap. Awesome work. Okay, so now let's spin you. So now my left hip is on the box, right hip's kind of hanging off. Scoot to the back edge of the box. My right shin is down. All right, so think both hips rooting down. They're not gonna move. My left hand is gonna go down to that headrest. Right arm goes up and over. Push into that left shin to find opposition. And then windmill the arms up. Right hand comes down. Left arm goes up and over. So I'm thinking of like sticking my left hip out and down into the box. Oof. Breathe through it. Push into the left hand to lift the ribs up. Big arc of the spine. Right hand down. Up and over. Right, and maybe it's not that you push the carriage out. Maybe it's just you bend that bottom elbow. Play around with that. I find they both give a really good stretch. Push into your right shin, your left hand, ribs are lifting up, square off in your chest. Last one here. Up and over. How long can you make that top arm, y'all? Big breath into those ribs. And then exhale, come all the way up. Oh, that felt so magical. Okay, so I want you to now put on a medium spring. So you have a medium and a light, all right? Box is gonna stay on. We're gonna do a little elephant, okay? So heels are up against the box. You're gonna stand up. I'm gonna take my hands to the foot bar, all right? So I'm gonna get a really good tripod connection down through my feet, especially the heels. Drop your head round into your spine. So think of like, again, that dropping of the tailbone down to your heels, and then keep the rounded shape. Press the carriage back a little bit and then pull it under you. Press it back a little bit, pull it under you. Now, if you're finding that your calves are getting in the way of that box, right, just slide your feet forward. Inhale takes you out. Exhale pulls under you. So I'm pushing into the foot bar. I'm also pulling it apart, but the push is helping me find opposition and lift up through the abdomen and the ribs. Inhale out. Exhale, pull under you. Inhale out. Exhale, pull under you. Now take your hands to your right side, right foot bar. I did this variation in a classical class I did a while back with Josie. The stretch in your low back, I think, feels amazing. So my hands are together. Round your spine. So I'm in a side bend right now, but I'm gonna think of my left hip reaching to the wall behind me. Keep that. Press the carriage back a little bit and pull it under you. Press it back a little bit, pull under you. So you might feel your right obliques here a little bit. Make sure you've got that tripod connection down through your feet. For 2. And last one, pull it under you. Walk the hands over to the left. Again, round the spine, drop the tailbone. Right hip reaches back, press it back and under you. Notice my carriage is not moving a whole lot. The goal isn't to like push the carriage all the way out. I'm using the equipment and the resistance of the springs to deepen the stretch. Check in with your neck. Lift the belly up away from the floor. Last one here. And pull it under you. Oh, that's magical. All right, carefully step off. 1 light spring. So I just took my medium off. I have a blue spring on. Change your box to a short box. A long box. I'm gonna move the box all the way to the edge. So it's still on my carriage, it's not on the frame. It's all the way to the edge, okay? Take it easy with this one, okay? So it's like Eve's lunge, but like just way more intense. So I'm gonna place my left leg up on top of the box. Now, if you scooted your box to the other way, maybe I didn't say, you're just on the other side. So my right foot is on the floor. My left knee is hanging off the box, y'all. It's hanging off the box, all right? So hands are on the foot bar. I'm just gonna press the carriage out a little bit so my right knee bends. I'm in extension. So I'm thinking of ribs lifting up here. All right, so I'm not quite like in my low back here. Now, when you're here, can you bend your left knee a little bit? And then extend it back out. I want you to bend the knee till you feel a stretch and then carefully extend it back out. So my tailbone is staying long, so I'm not going into my back. And I don't know about you, but when I bend this knee, the stretch down my right leg immediately kicks on. Last one here. I want you to bend the knee. Can you take your right hand around, grab onto your ankle, your foot? Holy cannoli. If not, keep your hands there and keep with the bend and straighten. I'm gonna push my foot into my hand, lift my chest up. I'm gonna try to square my chest off to you. Take a big breath in, and then big breath out. I'm gonna switch hands. Right hand comes down. My left hand is gonna reach around. And here's where I can like really sink my hip down into the box. I'm gonna try to pull with my arm, but also push with my foot. Big breath in here. Big breath out. Carefully let go of the foot. Ooh, extends the leg. Oh, let's do the other side. So I'm gonna slide the box over. So that way it puts me in a little bit more of that hip socket distance apart. It's not an awkward space between legs. So make sure your knee is hanging off the box, all right? I'm just gonna press it out a little bit so I'm not in a crazy, crazy extension. Just gonna resituate my leg here. All righty. So carefully try to bend that right knee and then back out. So just like we did in those front split variations, I want you to think of left hip going back, right hip pulling forward. Man, oh man, the stretch down my left leg doing this is insane. I ran through this earlier and I thought, oh, this is gonna be all thigh. But maybe that's my tighter side, right? So go ahead and bend the knee. The left hand is gonna reach around. Grab onto whatever you can. I'm gonna pull with the arm, push with the hand, the shin, whatever, or push with the foot. So my hips are staying square to the box and the floor. My upper body is trying to twist towards the wall. Big breath in. Big breath out. Carefully release that foot. I'm gonna switch hands. Ooh. Interesting, interesting. All right. So chest is nice and open. My right hip is drawing down and into the box. So you can add a little twist here if you'd like. You can stay square. It's wherever you feel like you need to go. But I do want you to work this push of the foot into the hand. Breathe down that whole right side. And then big exhale out. Carefully let go. Bring the carriage all the way in. Okay, let's take the box away. Place it off to the side. One more thing, okay, because I just want to finish with a little bit of rounding into the back there. So just place a couple springs on. That way the carriage isn't going to move all over the place. I'm going to come kneeling on the carriage here. Just make sure you feel supported with your shins. And I'm going to cross my right leg over my left leg, right? So my right shin is closer to you right now, okay? From here, I'm going to try to sit my hips back. Now, when I go back, I want you to lean to the right and then lean to the left. Lean to the right and then lean to the left. Let your body be heavy. All right, carefully center yourself off. Shift your weight forward and let's uncross, recross. Left shin over right shin. Sit the hips back. There it is. There's the tight place. Now, if you found a good place, you're like, I don't need to move around. I have found it. I have arrived. You stay there. Otherwise, you can do that little weight shift back and forth. But I can tell you right now, on this side, I'm really thinking of my left hip going like away from the crown of my head. And just breathe into those tight places. Let yourself be heavy. Let your head be heavy. Hi, boo-boo. Took you long enough. I'm surprised you didn't get up here sooner. Good, last one here. Hi, baby. Yep. Shift your weight forward. Uncross the legs. Oh, that was a nice way to finish. I feel like I could have stayed there for like 30 minutes. I appreciate you. I hope you feel better after this. I hope your hips, your legs just feel more open and just not as tight and tense, especially into the low back. And I hope to see you again. Thanks, y'all. Hi, my boobaloo. I love you. Are you the best boy? Are you the best boy? Are you the best boy?